How you doing? Girls interested in learning more about the flat Earth?
Sure.
You must have heard about it, I'm sure. Maybe Facebook memes trying to make fun of it. Stuff like this.
And people coming into the Starbucks and being...
Yes, and there's a lot of misinformation about there. You YouTube this stuff, you'll generally get like 100 pages of disinformation or people trying to tell you they debunk it. But if it's so obviously debunked, why are you getting all first information telling you why it's wrong? When all you have to do is look into it for yourself to prove that you live on a globe, and you'll find that there is the globe model itself is rife with contradictions and demonstrably false. Flat Earth is, we're not trying to claim nothing here. Flat Earth is an observation. Everything we see is flat and motionless. We don't experience curvature, we don't experience any motion of the Earth. These are just observations, and the thing is, when you put the globe to the test, you can't prove it. You cannot find the truth that it actually is a globe. You know, it's use some real science and you'll find the truth.
Sorry.
Oh, it's all good, yeah. So I hope you look into it.
What about all the NASA rockets that have gone out and taken pictures of
Sure,
the globe?
okay. Well, all of NASA's images, first of all, CGI, and they use GoPro fish lensing, which has a fisheye lens, distorted lens, right? So all that pictures of the globe is just at a high altitude and distorts the view. And second of all, NASA sending rockets to space has not ever actually been proven. There's no footage of ever seeing a space rocket entering or exiting the atmosphere. And the fact that space is supposedly next to our atmosphere is actually impossible, because space is supposed to be a vacuum and we have an atmosphere, and the second law of thermodynamics states you cannot have a high pressure with a low pressure system without a solid barrier. So it's impossible for space to even exist as they tell us. Spacesuits can't even exist in a vacuum. They can't even prove that these things can happen. So all that is just imagination. The only thing NASA's taken to space is your imagination.
If you're recording that, I'm sorry.
Everything they do is admitted CGI. They'll admit CGI. Look at a real picture of a globe, or look for a real picture of a satellite. You'll see all the pictures of satellites. They're CGI as well. And another thing to pay attention to when you look at the ISS footage, so-called, or satellite footage, look for stars. Look for other images of space junk, and all these satellites are supposedly orbiting the Earth. None of that exists in any footage we see from space or the ISS. You know, it's just. It doesn't matter. They never do a 360, first of all, and they'll never, again, whatever angle it's at, doesn't matter which one, you're not going to see all this space junk and debris. And the idea of spacewalks itself is ludicrous. The idea of, like, for instance, when you're in a pressurized system, like underwater submarines, they don't go outside and work on valves because it's a very dangerous area. Vacuum of space is even more dangerous. Everything would be inside. They wouldn't need to go outside for anything unless they're doing an emergency repair on the outside or something, which if you ever watch their spacewalks, they're just sitting there twirling knobs because it's underwater, and they're trying to make a show to brainwash us to believe what they're showing you is to think it's real. Same with movies, Star Wars, Star Trek, all this stuff, the globe in the classroom. Hollywood, Universal Pictures has a picture of a globe since, like, what, the 20s, before they even had a real picture of the globe. They're trying to tell you. Yeah, right? Yeah. It's just ridiculous. It's all indoctrination. It's just implanting these ideas so you just believe it as opposed to questioning it.
So then is the Earth also at the center of the universe?
Well, the universe, what the universe is, it's a whole other question, right? Well, that's...
Do you not believe in different galaxies?
Well, space as you think it does not exist.
How do you believe in galaxies? You haven't verified them yourself.
I have!
You've gone there and traveled and physically touched a galaxy?
You can't physically touch a galaxy if it's space.
Okay, have you gone to the galaxy and gone on a planet in that galaxy?
No, but other people have.
Nobody has left
What about
low Earth orbit.
What about Voyager?
NASA already admitted themselves they can't leave low Earth orbit. They've already said this now. How did they go to the moon in the 50s? How do they go into Mars constantly, but they've already said they can't leave low Earth orbit?
It's not possible.
People haven't been to Mars.
Yeah, how do you observe
They
helium?
claim to have, yes, and they claim to do it every couple of years and make it like it's a big deal.
How do you observe helium?
How are they remote controlling these rovers that are supposed to be millions of miles away?
So you have the helium tank, right?
satellites.
gonna
Again,
go- you have your
satellites
friend who's
can't
got
be
a
proven to
birthday, right?
exist, first of all.
What do
But
you
even
do
if
with
they
the
were
helium?
still satellites controlling
Friend's
these
birthday.
things,
What are you gonna
it'd
do?
be impossible for them to control it in real time because the time delay
Well,
would
I
be so
would- I
far
would fill
away.
up balloons
We would have no
with
control
helium.
over it. It'd be like
Tie it
over
to
an
a
hour
string, right?
minimal,
And
I
then
would
put
think,
a rock,
to control something like
tie
that.
it to this
It
rock,
would be
and then
ridiculous
the
to try
helium
and
balloons
to think
float,
that that's possible.
right?
If you understand radio waves,
Okay,
you understand
so when
cell
you're
phones.
observing the
Cell phones don't work
helium,
off of
it's inside a container,
satellites.
which
It's
is the
impossible for a
plastic of the
signal,
balloon,
send a
right?
signal 200 miles
separate
away
from
to
the
fathom
outside
how that even
exterior
works.
atmosphere.
That's ridiculous.
Okay.
And then to send a signal to the moon back in the
Then that
50s, you wouldn't need an
inside of the
amplifier the
air
size of that
escapes
building
out,
and a
and the
huge
air
ass
is rushing
antenna to
in
receive
to
it
create
over the back and
equilibrium
forth. It's not
around
like
it, okay?
our cell phones work
And then
on
once
cell
all the
towers,
air
first of all,
inside
just
the
to
helium
verify
balloon
that. They
is
don't go
gone,
to
it
space.
falls to the
They work
ground.
through cell towers.
Okay.
Cell towers
So,
triangulate,
if Earth
and it's completely local.
has an atmosphere.
Cell tower.
Think of it as the same thing as the
Cell
helium
towers
balloon.
go
Earth's
to
atmosphere
satellites.
is the
Well,
plastic
that's what they
around
tell
it.
you.
In the sky.
And outer space
you
is
can
the vacuum
see
outside of it,
satellites
right?
every once in a while.
So at
Okay.
some
You
point,
can see the National
I know you want to
Space
believe
Station.
that. I know you want to believe that, and you
outer
want to
space
see.
has
So
to
you
rush
see something
into our
translating in the sky,
atmosphere, or
and you
our
think that's a
atmosphere has to
satellite or
rush
an
out into
ISS.
outer
But yet,
space.
when you see a plane, for instance,
Okay.
which is
There
only
has
about
to be a
35,000 to
solid
40,000 feet
barrier
high on
around
average,
just
it
flying
looks about the
around
same
that
size, right? Look, that was 7
So
miles
to
about,
launch
and it looks about the
something
same
through
size.
this ball
So
Earth
if something that is
container
200
is
miles,
impossible.
which is the
Does
size
that
of a
make sense?
car or a truck,
I mean,
smaller
you
than a
understand,
plane,
if I don't
how do you
agree
think
with
you're
this,
seeing something
then
that
you
size,
comprehend what I just
smaller
said.
than a plane, looks the same size as a plane basically, that is way further, 100 miles further? It's impossible for you to see something that small translating the sky. Even ISS itself, it's supposed to be the size of a football field, right? And yet you're telling us it's traveling about 400 kilometers, I think is what it is. And that the same thing. If you were to verify that how to see perspective works, you cannot see that far, even something the size of a football field.
But let
It's
me
impossible for us to see that far with our plain eyes.
You know where I heard the ant
See
thing?
the actual shape of it. You
fifth
just
grade.
see the light.
It doesn't matter what you think you see. It's not possible to see anything that far.
You're like an ant, right?
I would ask you, I would challenge you to verify that for yourself, to seek whether that's possible or not.
I want you to educate me.
Sure, my
I'm
friend.
not-
Please take some information.
Could you explain some about some of the stuff in here?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is, we're just asking people really to question where they live, because
Yeah.
we're searching for the curve, and so far, Globe Earth, Zero, Flat Earth, over 200 proofs.
Okay.
The thing is, we're not claiming anything here, it's an observation.
Yeah, yeah,
Earth
no,
is, we observe it, we don't experience curvature, we don't, we can't measure any curvature, we can't observe any, or test any motion.
Yeah.
So we can see way too far. We can see across lakes, bodies of water go flat, they're flat and motionless.
Yeah.
There's no bulge in the middle. Like I live in Canada and I can see over Lake Ontario to Toronto skyline, the whole entire thing clear as day. The sky dome was over I think 280 feet, and I could see pretty much the whole thing minus water. Swelling and minor refraction in the lake. But so that what the globe model is telling me, if you look into the math that they're telling us, and that's what they generally use to try and convince everybody of this is maths, is over 900 feet of curvature should be out of my view from where at the shoreline where I am, over 40 miles. It's just, and I can see again over the whole skyline.
So, so that's like,
That's Chicago skyline, I think, and that one over Lake Michigan. Oh no, this is the Salt Flats. Salt Flats. Yeah, that's the Chicago skyline.
traveled
that's
all the
over
way-
60 miles over Lake Michigan.
So you've traveled all the way from Canada to here?
I did.
That's crazy.
Still looking for the curve.
That's awesome.
And I was also in Amsterdam a couple weeks ago.
That's really cool, man.
Yeah, it was actually a convention here in Greenville here yesterday.
Really?
Yeah.
That's
and
awesome.
At the Firmament, and there might be
didn't
one
even
next
hear
year.
about
It's called Flatoberfest.
Awesome.
This might be another one next year. Yeah, we got some YouTube stuff. There's some YouTube information on the back of that.
I saw that, yeah.
And
definitely look into
my
it.
YouTube channel specifically is ScubaDracula. If you want to look into it, one word, ScubaDracula.
Okay. Well, thanks for educating me, man. I really
Yeah,
appreciate
I mean, again, I'm not trying to convince you, man. I hope you look into it
it.
for yourself,
I
brother.
like hearing other people's opinions. That's why I came over.
Awesome. Appreciate you letting me hear. Take care.
Creating an imagination in your mind that this
Sure.
is what's happening
So
is true.
this is a panorama,
If I read in a book that a man
No,
walked
that's
on
just a
water,
shot, single shot.
how do I
And there's actually
verify
video footage of the people from this view driving with the
I'm
boat
just asking
all the
a
way to the
question.
water to
I
prove
have to
it's
have
not a
faith,
mirage.
right?
Because
That a man can
the
walk on
newscasters
water.
have been, and the global
Just as much as you
liars
have faith
have been
that
trying to tell people
scientists,
that's a mirage.
astronauts,
Because it's
go
impossible
out
to
into
see
these
it that far,
fantastical
60 miles
environments.
away.
You haven't verified.
You know, if you verify the curvature
Science
over
is
that, it's like, I
observation,
think over a couple thousand miles
demonstration,
that there should
and
be
repeating it.
out of your sight
That
there.
is science.
Right?
It sounds like,
It's ridiculous.
I'll get to my point.
But
It sounds
it's
like you're in
curved.
scientism,
It's not
which is a
curved
belief
as
in other
extremely
people's
as
testimony
you guys
of this.
Well,
seem to say it's
It's
not.
not us who's saying that. NASA is saying that the curvature formula, if the Earth is 25,900, 100 miles, I believe, That's a curvature formula of 8 inches per mile squared the distance. So the further the distance, you get squared and it drops down further. So when you square the distance, as far as you go out, it should be at that. That's their math. Look it up. Earth curvature. What's the formula? Look it up for yourself. NASA mainstream. They'll tell you. That's what it is.
And then
Here's the thing: is that Chicago skyline view is you don't see, for instance, the water. Look how flat that is. That's clearly over at least 40 miles itself. The view this way too, or if not longer, 60 or 70 miles. And there's no bulge, right? Those buildings aren't leaning back. If they were on a curve, they're not leaning back. They're straight. You know, it's ridiculous to think that should be over the curvature, but we all know we don't experience curvature. We all know it doesn't exist. We don't experience it. It's a big joke. It's a big lie.
Then what about the other planets? Are they flat too?
It's a common misconception and a common question. There's lights in the sky. I mean, to assume what we see up there is that's like saying, "Oh, I see a bird. We're a bird." Like that's not logical to think that way. That's just a common misconception that people use because they're told the same thing. Where's the edge? Well, why are you asking where's the edge? Why do you assume there's an edge? I don't think there's an edge. It could go on infinitely. But to see planets and go, well, it's round because of this. There's just lights in the sky. And when you use telescopes or high optical zoomed lenses like this, a P900, you can zoom in on the planets and the stars, and it's actually hard to discern the difference. They just look like lights, and they're flickering lights. If you look at semantics, or how you pronounce it, there's like an electrical current through water almost, right?
That's science.
And it looks very similar to like how snowflakes freeze and different energetic vibrations. And we don't know what they are. We're not claiming to know what they are, but they're just lights in the sky right now. That proves nothing about where you are.
Okay, so.
All right. So I have another question. So if the Earth is flat, how can I go from?
What would it be if it were?
How can you go around the world?
Yeah, how can you go from here?
Yeah, and this is a flat model you're understanding, right? Well, simple as this, okay? People think, well, I'm going around. Yeah, so people think I'm going around a globe, but you're simply just doing a circle. So the North Pole is in the middle, and if you were to go east, for instance, people think, well, if I just go east, I'll come back to the same spot. Well, that's not true. If you point due east, you're eventually going to be going south.
And they'll know science.
You have to turn to go east or west.
And they'll know that they shouldn't cross the
North
street
Pole,
when there's cars coming.
the directions are governed by the north, so you always have to adjust to keep going east or west. So you're just doing a circle over it. You're going around in a circle. Well, it's in the middle. I mean, this is just a rough model. It's not to scale. We don't know. We don't have an exact model. We can't possibly know that. You cannot travel past the 60th parallel. You cannot go to Antarctica freely. You cannot go to the North Pole freely. And now they're trying to tell us that the North Pole is underwater somewhere. But we believe if you look at old maps, all kinds of old maps, projections originally had 4 continents, and I'm not biblical, but even the Bible says the Garden of Eden, it shows you 4 continents as the rivers making an X. Mount Meru, there's all kinds of other theories, and Hyperborea, these are all places believe that that's what the North is, a very special place. We don't know what's there. That may be an awakening place, but maybe I think we all think it's a very special place to go to, and there may even be land past Antarctica as well. We don't know. Those are good questions, but we can't observe them. We can't verify that for ourselves because we don't have, first of all, the funds. We would need millions of dollars to do so, and it's completely controlled. And why do you think it's controlled? Such organizations known as the UN, United Nations, is the ones who are governing this. And actually, if you look at the United Nations logo specifically, it's a flat map. It's got the feather shines on the side, and it's got all the continents just like this. It's the flat model. It's a flat map. That's in the United Nations right in your face, showing you it's a flat map. So it's hard to ignore these things that are being showed to us blatantly right in our face, right?
When
you know about the guy?
I don't remember ever hearing about the North Pole being underwater.
If they claim now the actual north direction is underwater somewhere close to Russia, I think, something like that. It's always changing, they're saying, and they want you to keep believing in plate tectonic movements. And I'm not sure, like I still believe in plate tectonics, but the idea that the continents are always shifting and stuff, I don't believe that. So they're always trying to say everything is moving because of, again, the globe model, and the continents are floating around, and plate tectonics is moving everything, and they really want to push the whole globe molten lava center of the earth, but yet we can't possibly know what's at the center of the earth because the furthest that humans have ever dug is over only 8 miles, And
Well,
if you
actually,
understand
this should be
25,000 miles, well, the middle of that's about what? 12,000 miles, 8 miles doesn't compare to even know anything about the center of the Earth or what's there. It could be hollow. We don't even know. Some people believe that there is a whole other civilization inside the Earth. I have no freaking idea, but I do believe there is something. A lot of things are hiding.
Pangea, do you believe in Pangea?
So even at like 25 miles.
Again, I hate using the word believing things, right? I don't believe in things that I can't verify for myself.
Or an
right?
airplane,
So
but then this astrophysicist
there's all kinds of
right, and says that
there's all kinds of theories,
right?
and
That's what he says.
I just try to stick to what I know
That
specifically,
kind
right?
of a lot of
So,
the public's opinions. that would
which
say, hey,
those
I saw the
things does not
curvature on my way
prove,
here from
does not,
Minneapolis.
or disprove this, is what I'm saying, right?
So what y'all picture the Earth is like, basically
Your
like.
shirt. Right? That's what you mean?
Which?
Your shirt. Is that supposed to be the Earth being
Like
flat?
just like a flat.
Yeah, well, it's a
So have
it's
y'all
not an exact
physically
model.
found,
We
like,
don't actually know the exact model. We just
edge of the
we can
Earth or
only go by what we
So,
can understand
the
and
quote, edge
can't
of the
verify it because
Earth
we can't
could
test
be
it. We don't have the money.
Something like this, where water's contained, and there's an ice wall on the exterior, which is 60,000 miles in circumference right here. Okay, but what if there's more land and ice out here, out in this trajectory?
So it's like infinite, right?
I think it's infinite, personally. A lot of people in the community of Flat Earth don't necessarily agree with that, but we haven't verified that it's not. And we can't verify that this idea of outer space is infinite either. You know, we could just take what science assumes it to be ever expanding. So what if like it just goes on infinitely forever horizontally, and Australia is just that way, for example, instead of like down under.
You too, my friend.
And the sun
Stay
just
woke.
traverses around. One interesting thing about the sun and the moon is the North Pole is in the center, and when the sun and the moon are opposite of each other like this, that's when the full moon is. But then when they're closer together like that, it's at like a half. So maybe there's some kind of electromagnetism going on between the sun and the moon and the North Pole, where maybe the sun is drawing plasma from the moon or of some kind, or you know, it has some kind of a relationship with the North Pole. But the sun isn't 93 million miles away. It's much, much closer. Maybe, in my opinion, just my idea, 20 to 100 miles away from the surface.
Oh, okay.
So then, what kind of star is the sun?
Like an electromagnetic type of
Plasma, maybe.
plasma. You can actually create stars in a jar.
I'm sorry. No, she
Yeah.
brought up an interesting question.
Yeah.
Do you guys believe space is real, right?
No.
Okay.
No, back to that
So,
whole
that's what I was
container, right?
thinking. What do you think about like other stars and planets that have been found?
Yeah,
Thank you for your
sololuminescence.
Thank you.
Have you ever heard of like sololuminescence? Yeah, so it's like a vibration. Do you guys have a science museum here?
But we're having what do you call it? Spacewalky thingy. that's
Planetarium or something?
Yeah,
Okay.
planetarium
Oh, yeah,
that's
I
being
think.
put in, like over there. There's a UFO.
Okay. So with a violin string and a flat metal piece of metal, dump some salt or sand on it, and you rub the side of that metal with the violin string, and you'll create a design of the salt and the sand in the center. So what if the lights in the sky are similar to that? They're in some kind of a brine or a liquid, and they're a resonant frequency and have a vibration to them.
So you're going back to what Mesopotamians and ancient Greeks believed, that the sky is an ocean.
Water's above and water's below, maybe?
Well, we know vapor is existing everywhere.
Water vapor, yeah.
Yeah.
You don't have to answer this because it may be too personal. Do you believe in like God?
Absolutely, yeah.
Or alien.
A creator. I believe in a creator specifically myself.
what is
That's what I was
extraterrestrial?
Because you said something about violins and sand, and I was like,
Extraterrestrial?
what is up with
Yeah,
these
I know
words?
what you-
And there's eyeballs. Funny. Of course.
So like extra lands. So when him and I say outer space, him and I are saying outer space like this, horizontally. But when the three of you, when we say outer space, immediately you think of above, right? So that's how they have kind of flipped the script on us in terms of aliens. What if it were to happen?
And they're trying to hide a
invasion
creator.
happens,
With the creation
and it
you're
was
talking
just
about,
on
like,
another
they're trying to
continent.
hide that
On
that
the
there's a
same
creator.
planet.
We are intelligently designed. You know, there's a lot of different viewpoints in Flat Earth specifically. There's biblical, there's myself, more of a consciousness, spiritual, kind of astrology kind of, study the stars a little bit, but and there's more people believe specifically in the Bible, and we're all just want to know the truth. But we all believe that there's definitely a creator. What that creator, who it is, we don't 100%
So when you say we,
know.
you mean like
we are unique though. When they try to prove they live on a globe,
what's happening
they're
there
trying to
is they're
force
taking
gravity on us,
images
and they're trying to
and
prove
data
Darwinism,
from those
evolution.
lights,
You
and
evolve
then
from a
turning them
monkey,
into
you
an
start from a speck
artist's
of dust.
rendition.
You mean nothing. You're not
you know,
unique.
like the coloring book, the number coloring book?
Which?
Okay, so like one represents
Well,
blue,
they claim to know when the
two
universe
represents
started.
yellow,
They claim to know
so
from a Big Bang.
So they're taking the lights in the sky, seeing the data, because let's say helium is yellow.
It's impossible that they can know that. It's all
all these other
conjecture.
different chemistry and
my question
observations
is,
of
you don't
light are
believe
certain
in
numbers,
gravity?
and then they'll put them into
Gravity as a
and then
mass
that
attracting
computer
mass,
makes
or
an
a
algorithm to say,
Einsteinian
okay, this is what
space-time
you're
curvature.
and they turn it
Yeah.
into a ball.
Well, no, it's because you're heavier than the air that surrounds the air.
Because
So
what
if
I
I
see
drop
in a
something to the
telescope
ground
is
and
the
it
same
falls,
exact
that just
thing
means
that
it's
they're
heavier
seeing
than
with the
air.
telescope, even
That's
if
relative
it's a 100
density.
foot
That doesn't prove
diameter
there's a
telescope.
force pulling
They're
it
still
down.
just seeing lights in the sky.
You put a
But
helium
they're
balloon and
transferring
you
and
bounce
turning
the
that
air,
data that they
and
have
so it just stays
into
here.
colors,
That disproves
and then the
gravity.
computer turns it
Why?
into a ball.
Because if there's such a force that can hold down all the Earth's oceans, but yet birds and bees and stuff can fly so easily and freely, where's gravity then? A helium balloon disproves gravity because
They're lighter.
they're lighter than the air. Exactly. But the ocean is way heavier than the air, so how is that being pulled down but not a balloon? It's just it's pick and choose what they can lift. No, it's nonsense. It's just relative density. I mean, the theory of gravity, whichever one you want to subscribe to, Newtonian or Einstein, it's not proven. It's a bunch of nonsense. It's just we don't know specifically why up is up and down is down. There's whole theories of relative density, but also you can use static charge, or some people talking about dielectric acceleration.
So
There is a bit of a debate in the community of what it is. So-called, if you want to call it gravity, but what it really is it an acceleration or is it just relative density? We're not 100%. We do know relative density definitely plays a part in it, but there could be more to it. But it's definitely not what they're telling us, because it's a theory still. First of all, they have never proven gravity exists, and now they're trying to claim that they found and seen gravity waves, and it's just complete nonsense because they're trying to confirm the bullshit. You know, there's anything. You're going to see more and more propaganda popping up of them just trying to confirm that for you, right? But it still hasn't been proven. Again, like I can explain easily why things fall because it's heavier than air. That doesn't prove things are, magically being held down by some kind of force. And like I said, a helium balloon disproves that. The idea of if the Earth is spinning, think about this, right? And if we have all this centrifugal force, what happens to a washing machine when you wash the clothes and it spins? The water goes out, it dries, right? Same thing with the gravitron, when it spins, you get force to the outside. So if the Earth is spinning 1,000 miles an hour, how is that all oceans not flung off by now? Well, you can say gravity, of course. Again, where is gravity then when with the helium balloon? It's not there. It's a belief system. If the Earth itself, the globe, is 71% water, and water always lays flat and motionless,
from point A to point B, it's all
where's the curve? I mean, it's just water itself is one of the easiest things to show you that we live in a flat and motionless plane. It's one of the easiest things. And
there's more down there.
again, it's not a claim. It's an observation. We want to know the truth, and it's just too much to take in at once. And I don't want you to believe us, man. Look into it. Yeah, there's more information down there, guys. We got a crew down there.
You're not making fun of me. People are making fun of the topic.
Please take some pictures. Go take pictures of them down there.
I mean, I really respect the fact that y'all are really being cool about it.
Yeah,
and
that's what I was gonna say. I was like, I want to shake their hands.
Oh, please do.
Nice
have
to meet
people
you.
criticize you and still believe in something so strongly.
Exactly.
It's really cool.
It's freedom of speech, right? I mean, you've got the right to speak your mind, and we're just out here trying to provoke thought because. It's online. A lot of this is controlled. It's hard to find honest information now because they are censoring it. They've admitted to censoring Flat Earth in 9/11 and alternate health stuff. So
yeah, and including like the moon landing and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. So why are they doing that if it's so obvious? I mean, why would they care that other people are questioning it and being skeptical?
And I don't know everything. Like I'll say, hey, you know what? I don't know, but I can formulate what I do know into an opinion, and then at least provoke your thought. Yeah, you too. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, thanks for stopping.
Take some pictures, put it on Facebook, and go, hey, these guys believe the Earth is flat. Maybe provoke some conversation.
Yeah.
Tell them, check out the YouTube stuff.
Take care.
Take care, man.
I'm gonna go down and get some water.
Yeah, go ahead, man. There's a fountain too at the bottom of the elevator.
Oh, okay.
Or wait, was it there? Or no, where was it? No, I think I'm mistaken. No, that was by the cancer thing. How you doing, brother? Can I offer you some information? Don't care to look into anything, questioning what you think you know? You like being lied to? You like being controlled? Do you like being lied to?
You know, I don't want anything to do with that.
Because you think you have all the answers, or?
No.
Can I just ask you why you believe it's a globe then? 'Cause I'm assuming you believe it's a globe, right?
Yeah.
You mind?
I'm not interested in talking to you.
Oh, okay. I can see.
About that? No. About that? No, I'm not.
No?
No.
What about truth, specifically? You don't have to talk about the shape of the Earth. What about truth in general? Do you trust your government?
No.
That's good. Do you believe 9/11 happened? Do you believe it was terrorists attacked the buildings?
I'm not interested in talking to you about those things.
Oh, okay. So you just don't care about talking about anything that helps people wake up to our real reality?
Obviously, I don't want to talk to you because I can see where your opinions are about those things, and now you're bringing up other opinions. So I just don't want to align myself to that. I've researched it on my own, and I've talked to other people.
Right. So what's wrong with having a conversation then?
I'm just not interested in it. It's a waste of my time.
You think it's a waste of your time anyway, but I'll give you.
I know it's a waste of
I
my
give you $100. You can prove you live on a globe.
You know, I'm not trying to prove anything. I don't know.
Well, neither am I. Like, we're not claiming the Earth is flat. It's an observation.
I don't want to prove anything. I don't have anything to prove.
That's fine. That's your choice. I respect that.
You guys can think what you think and have your opinion.
Sure.
But I don't care to. I've played around with those ideas before.
Right.
But I don't care to discuss them anymore or
Sure,
go through that process. So
And I can respect that. I mean, it's not everybody's.
I just don't want to spend my time talking about that.
Sure, I can respect that, man. Yeah.
So I already said it once.
So like I said, I'm not trying to convince you the Earth is flat again. So I just hope that you can seek truth if you're interested in truth, because it's not about my belief, it's not about anybody's belief, it's about the truth.
Right.
And we're just asking questions, that's all. There's nothing wrong with asking questions, would you agree?
Right, I agree.
So
well,
being skeptical about what you're told is asking questions, not just about the shape of the Earth, about the government, about fluoridated water, about spraying the skies with chemtrails, about vaccines, GMOs, 5G radiation. All these things are very cancerous and causing illness to humans. Do you not care about that?
No, listen, I already said I don't want to talk about those things.
Okay,
I don't want to talk to you about
sure,
it.
all right, sure. I respect you about it.
Times and you're continuing.
Oh, well, you said you said you didn't want to talk about it, so you didn't specify those things you didn't want to talk about.
I did.
So.
I went on to say that because you already have that opinion that you're processing and putting it forward with propaganda.
It's not propaganda, actually. It's globe is propaganda.
Hold on. Let me just finish my sentence. Sure. I already said that I didn't want to talk about those other things with you.
That's your choice.
Of that. Because I'm validating.
So you're judging me. You're judging me because I choose to believe something you don't.
No, I didn't judge you. I said I don't want to talk about those things with you.
Because I believe that. Because I believe that. Because I believe that.
I don't want to talk about those topics because I don't respect them.
And I'm not trying to push it on you.
I said that to you already.
Sure.
And then you continue over
Actually, I started talking about other things. Actually, it's only been like 3 minutes.
Yes.
I started talking about other things.
Yes, but as soon as you start talking about other things, I said I don't want to talk
right,
about
so
those.
you just want to argue about not talking about it. I get it.
Arguing. I said I don't want to talk about it.
Have a good day. Have a good day. I'm not trying to push nothing. I'm just trying to end this discussion now because you clearly...
So the public school system, dude.
Yeah.
The public school system pushing it too.
Oh my God.
Walk away, dude. You're overmatched.
No, listen, I'm not battling you. I said I didn't want to talk about it. I didn't want to have a debate.
Brother,
so it's not about...
It's all good, man.
It's not about fucking being overmatched. Okay, listen, I was sitting here minding my own business, and he came up, and I said I didn't want to talk anymore, and now you come and join him and say, we're smarter, or all this bullshit. No, I didn't say
you hate the First Amendment?
He was pushing several different agendas, one right after the other. Okay? And I said I didn't want to talk. He didn't even walk away, all right? He didn't walk away. He kept at it. I said, okay, I would talk to you about anything. I even said that, but I don't want to talk about those topics.
I tried trying to talk, actually.
I even told him I respected his opinion. I don't agree with it. So because of that, I didn't want to talk about those opinions. I didn't want to, I said that. So you continued. Well, I was just sitting there minding my own business. I didn't come here to talk to you.
How many times do you gotta repeat that? 'Cause we're trying to end. I'm trying to end the conversation.
Oh my God! Thank you for pushing me on my way, dude. Have fun in a public space.
You're right. It is a public space.
Well, then why didn't you fucking leave me alone when I told you to?
You just gotta let him go, man.
I mean, he's changed his diaper.
Well, if he said it like that and he's getting rowdy, I mean, I wasn't here. Just let him go, man. Like, there's no reason.
Well, actually, he said he didn't want to talk about that specifically. He didn't say he wanted to talk to me, so I tried to change the subject, and then it's like, oh, I don't talk about any of that. And he's just relating it right back and forth, right?
Yeah.
And it's just like, whatever, buddy.
No, you just.
He clearly has an attitude.
Well, you might, but.
Hey guys, you ever question the globe model? You ever interested in learning about flat Earth?
Take care.
You already know, as you said?
No, who don't?
Oh, well, you don't experience curvature, you know that, right?
What time did you eat this morning?
Like 12:30. Yeah. Why?
Oh, you forgot that we were going to eat?
No, yeah, I forgot. You guys said we were going to Chick-fil-A or whatever. I didn't even remember, but he said, I'm like, oh shit, yeah, where is it? So I was up early anyway because they left the house by 12, so I was hungry. Like, I stopped at the gas station, grabbed a coffee, and they had
Did you sleep in the
kitchen
house?
there. No, I slept in my truck. Free hugs. All right. You ever heard about flat Earth, my friend?
Flat Earth? No, I just know about hugging, man. That's all I know.
You want to learn about flat Earth?
Nah, that's all right.
You sure?
Yeah.
Flat Earth is full of love.
Do you have a Facebook?
Oh yeah, Hug It Out America.
Again?
Hug It Out America.
Hug It Out America.
Yeah, been 23 states with my kids. We reach all 50. Yes. Take care, y'all.
Can I ask you a question? What do you hope to accomplish with like what you're doing? Just curious. It's not that I don't disagree with you.
No. No, the idea is
Nothing wrong with spreading love.
community rather than dividing our politics. Not everybody wants to hug.
You know,
Some people just want to talk, but everybody wants to be understood. Always having
you know,
Yeah.
Right on, man.
I'll put a mark on my board.
Yeah, for sure.
So just put it on right there. Everybody gives me a hug, puts it on.
Oh, nice. You know who needs a hug? That guy over there.
There you go.
That guy over there sitting down in the corner. He needs a hug.
Why you say that?
He's a grumpy man. I'll take a hug. I'll join that, brother. Spread the love, man. Spread the love, spread the truth.
Y'all like a button?
Sure. I would ask that you maybe just take that, consider it when you're free time.
Okay.
I'm not trying to convince you of anything here. I just want we just want to know the truth, right? So,
Yeah, I'll check it out when
you
I
want me
get
to make a
here.
mark on your
Oh,
board?
sorry, I forgot about you.
Yeah, I gotta get those hugs in, right?
Yeah, but as many as I can.
All right.
Thank y'all. Good luck.
Cheers. That's cool.
Misha in Minneapolis has free hugs.
Oh yeah, Effie Misha.
No, there's a guy named Misha, M-I-S.
Was it Meska or whatever? I can't remember.
I don't know. She lives in like California, I think.
Okay.
I'm talking about this one guy. He's got a Facebook page and he does free hugs.
That's hilarious. Free hugs, free hugs. Did you go over to him? I didn't even notice.
What's that?
Did you go over to him? Told him to go give him a hug. The guy just goes and sits over there. Ooh, $100. $100.
You live in space. Believe your government. They love you. Your daddy loves you. Stay home.
Care for some information? It's free.
Sure, thank you.
You ever heard about the Flat Earth movement?
Yeah, don't look for Santa
Yeah,
Claus.
what do you think?
Go to spinning space while within.
It's interesting.
Don't look for a vacuum next to an aircraft.
We just wanted the truth. You know, we're not trying to claim anything. Flat Earth is actually an observation You know, we see flat and motionless Earth. Water never goes around a ball. It's always flat and motionless. There's no evidence to prove the Earth is spinning or to any measurable curvature. So there's a lot of disinformation out there, and people trying to tell you like flat Earth society kind of stuff, which is a bunch of nonsense. We don't subscribe to that. We just simply want to know the truth, right? The globe model itself has been proven over and over. It's wrong, it doesn't work, it's demonstrably false. So, I mean, again, planes don't adjust for curvature. It's just the whole idea of a globe is just indoctrination and brainwashed since we're birthed, since children. Like in the classroom, there's a globe in every corner. Every movie, Hollywood movie, is trying to push space propaganda. Like, we don't actually believe space exists as they tell us in the movies and on TV and all that nonsense. It's actually not proven that space can exist, specifically a vacuum being next to an atmosphere. It's actually the second law of thermodynamics is you cannot have a high pressure system or a low pressure system without a solid barrier. So it's impossible that space could exist with an atmosphere. I mean, space itself is just, as we see on TV, it's all CGI, all these things we see, all these galaxies and the planets and stuff. They're just lights in the sky right now. We don't know what they are, but if you look and verify for yourself what they are with a high zoomed camera or telescope, you can see they just kind of look like semantics, like lights and kind of in water almost or something. Some people, we believe there's a firmament, there's some sort of barrier. We don't know what it is exactly. A lot of people will assume, and we'll go questions like, well, where's the edge kind of stuff. Like, well, why assume there's an edge? I personally don't believe there's an edge. Why does there have to be an edge, right? It's just, it's just so obvious. Yeah, it's just so obvious when you start to look into it. You'll be like, huh, oh, that makes sense. You know, planes, they don't go the opposite direction of the spin, supposedly, like it should be. You would think if you've ever flown before, you don't see curvature. The horizon always rises to your eye level, no matter how high you go. We have footage from over 100,000 feet, high altitude balloons. You can even do these yourself and observe that it's flat and the horizon always rises to your eye level. So how is it that we're getting these observations? All the data shows flat and motionless, no measurable curvature. How is it that we live on a globe if water, the Earth is supposed to be 79% water, and water always seeks its level? Where's the curvature? Where's the bulge? You know, like, I'm from Canada and I live on Lake Ontario, and I can see Toronto skyline clear as day. Over 40 miles, and they're telling us if the globe is supposed to be 25,000 miles, 900 whatever in circumference, that curvature mathematical formula, it works out to be about 900 feet from where I am, about 40 miles to look over across to Toronto, and I can see the whole entire skyline, and the sky dome is about 280 feet, and I can see the whole thing pretty much, minus minor refraction and water swelling. So again, you don't see buildings leaning back, we can see way too far. And in that pamphlet, you'll see there's 10 proofs in there, and there's the Chicago skyline. You can actually see over 60 miles, completely flat, and you can see it clear as day, the whole skyline. And there's actually guys who've done YouTube videos, his channel is on the back there. This guy here, Rob Scuba, he has a video showing you on a boat from that viewpoint, driving all the way to the skyline, showing you it's not a mirage, because that's what they're going to try and tell us, is it's a mirage. They're trying to say that refraction is happening, you know, Fata Morgana, and that it's bouncing over the curve, right? It's just ridiculous. It's just a bullshit excuse to try and just to make you believe that you live on a sphere, right? Because when they tell you when we live on a sphere, then they're trying to prove gravity, which has not ever been proven. It's why things fall simply explained with relative density. You drop something, it's heavier than air. That doesn't prove there's some kind of magical force. But the whole space agenda and planet kind of forces gravity and Darwinism, that we evolved from monkeys and we are not unique and the creation doesn't exist, and all of us in the flat movement absolutely believe in a creator and intelligent design. As biblical people and follow the Bible more with flat Earth. The Bible has over 200 verses that the Earth is flat and that they're stationary and on the pillars and this and that. I'm personally not a biblical person, but I absolutely believe in a creator. I believe in intelligent design. I believe we're all spiritual entities and other things like this. But they're going to try and push alien agendas and space movies, and just to, again, they propagate all that nonsense to keep the wheels churning about space, about globes, right? So now the more you look into this, pay attention, watch it, you're going to see that they're always trying to project the globe or space in your mind, and that's just for them to keep brainwashing you, because that's all it is, right? When you put this to the test and just try to simply prove to yourself that you live on a globe, you're not going to find any real evidence. Observable, repeatable, and testable evidence. That's the important thing, right? Yeah. Thank you for lending your ear. And again, don't believe me. I would hope you look into it for yourself. Have a good day.
Don't look for curvature. Don't look for spin.
How you doing, guys? Can I offer you some information? You're okay? You heard about this? You believe you live on a globe? Yeah. Give you $100 you can prove you live on a globe. Okay, well, just understand it's a belief system. It's no different than believing Jesus walked on water, that if you think you live on a spinning globe. There's no measurable curvature. Planes don't adjust for curvature. Water always finds its level. How you doing?
Good.
How are you doing? Good.
Don't question anything. Obey. Obey your
Care for some information. Give you $100 you can prove you live on a globe. One proof. One proof you live on a globe.
Walk away.
Scientific
Obey your government.
method.
Obey them.
Okay, observable, testable, repeatable evidence. Prove to me you live on a globe with one proof. I give you $100.
The Bible says flat Earth. The Bible says it's stationary and unmoving. Look it up.
CGI.
Yeshua knew the Earth was flat. That's why he went to a giant mountain to look at all the continents of the Earth. The Earth is flat. Don't trust science. They tell you Big Bang and evolution. They also tell you you live on the sixth ball, circling around the sun.
Huh? What? What's up? Huh? Oh yeah. You talk to him?
The guy on the phone just said hi to me though. And then he walked over there. It's funny that we were talking about leaving. And then they show up.
I wonder if somebody called them, or they're just here, the security.
I'm sure the restaurant called them. They probably think.
Was there, I thought the restaurant guy was talking to us. He seemed interested, didn't he?
If you're a lip reader, maybe you can read what he's saying.
Let us know where we are, who we are, and we'll find out where we're going to
You're a lip reader? You zoomed in on it? Is that what you're doing? Mm-hmm. Nice.
I told you.
But yet, if you drive like 10 miles away from the big city,
They're bothering our children.
you know, you can see for miles and miles and miles. I don't do calculations. Yeah. 8 inches per mile square.
For 1 mile. It's going to drop.
Carol's, can I offer you information?
Yes.
Would you like a pamphlet?
Yes, thank you.
Look into it.
We wouldn't be able to see anything on the other side of the curve, right? So like in this example, it says 8 inches per mile squared is 1,700 feet of expected curvature. Okay, so this building should be like this under the horizon. And we see the whole city. That's just one proof. Okay, here's another thing. What is the physics of water? Build a container, flat on the top, right?
Guys, like some information.
So, and I'm not talking about the meniscus from the side, okay?
Give you $100, you can prove you live on a globe. Yeah, one proof, one evidence. Observable, repeatable, testable science.
No, it's always flat at the top, right?
Flat Earth. Earth's not a spinning globe. You guys care to entertain the thought that you live on a flat and motionless Earth?
Thank you.
Please? Flat Earth? Earth's not a globe.
Measure across the lake, that's 30 miles long. You shouldn't be able to see the other beach, but yet you can have someone with a mirror flashing the sun back at you and you can see it perfectly. And you're supposed to be a half a mile below the horizon. A half a mile!
Yes?
And you can see a mirror.
You live on a globe spinning, right? But you don't experience any of that.
And I
Maybe
know
$100 to give you one proof you do. Planes don't adjust for curvature. There's not one single test to prove the Earth is moving.
So we're like, no, I'm going to prove the ball. These guys are idiots. I'm going to prove them wrong. And then when you try to prove them wrong, that's when...
Laugh it up. It's on you, the joke.
I've been a CAD, you know what a CAD drafter is? Computer-aided drafting and design. They draw plans for engineers and stuff, okay? So civil drafting is where you do land development, okay? I've done a huge acreage of land and miles of road, okay?
I wonder if they'll protect the Constitution for us without talking to us. You know what I mean?
No, what do you mean exactly?
Well, because if the restaurant called the police on us,
oh, and then telling them that they're...
and then telling them that they're allowed to be here,
Yeah.
then they should never come to talk to us.
Yeah, I guess so, yeah.
So there's nothing that they can do, the restaurant.
And just refrain from using the megaphone, maybe.
Yeah, I mean...
right now, because I guess you could call it public disturbance, maybe.
No, it's legal. It's not overbearing.
You would say a pulse of
They're scaring away our customers.
When you...
Negative below.
Right.
An electric field.
Right, there's a static electric field, okay? And have you ever heard of potential energy? Like every 100 meters is 100 volts or something like that? Every meter is 100 volts, yeah.
There's 200 volts of electricity in the air per cubic meter.
So it's dielectric.
300 and 400,
right?
And it just keeps going up.
And then everything else is explained by coincidence energy. So if anything is lighter than the medium it's in, it's going to go up. If anything's heavier than the medium it's in, it's going to go down. That's all there is to it. There is no spin. Okay, so the only reason they came up with the idea of gravity is because Newton needed to figure out a way, how do we stick to the spinning ball without flying off? But if you don't have a spinning ball, you don't need it. Down is down. That's all there is to it. Yep. And he's proven it with a bunch of different tests. It's pretty cool.
Tectonic plates, what's your stance on that then?
Does it need to be a ball for tectonic plates to work?
It could just be plates shifting around.
It doesn't change anything.
So when it comes to
doesn't change anything.
core mantle.
Okay, so let me look. We've gotten like all the same questions, so he's not laughing at you. We've heard it 1,000 times. Okay. So the picture that they show you in your textbook, right? They show you this gobstopper, right, with the white and the yellow and the red, and right. Okay, so do you know what the deepest hole ever drilled is?
I actually don't
Take a
know
guess.
off the top of my head.
Take a
You know what, why don't you tell me?
8 miles out of 4,000. They have no idea what's below the Earth. They have no idea.
And when they dug this, it was in Russia.
It's called the borehole.
Super deep borehole. They found that what they believed was down there was totally wrong. Just at 8 miles. They thought it was going to get denser and denser and denser. They were finding water over 7 miles down. Big giant pockets. So what they tell us, a lot of it was just theory.
Okay.
And then they build a theory on top of the theory, right? If you have a false axiom, you continue to build off that axiom. You don't have to reboot the belief. And there's actually many astrophysicists that say we need to reset. We need to go back and test the beginning axiom. Because, like, for instance, we've established the speed of sound, okay, and the speed of light. Well, there's plenty of scientists that say it's kind of like an average, so to speak, right? Now, we can test this like with planes, you know, you can go a certain speed and hear that boom, right? But when does it reach it? Does it reach it at 730 miles or does it reach it at 729 miles, right? So it's all speculation and it's kind of a range, okay? The speed of light thing, do you know how they tested for the speed of light that they came up with the number in the first place? It was 2 dudes on 2 mountaintops. One of them had a lantern with a card and he went like this. How fast did it take to get to you? Now this guy on the other side didn't have a walkie-talkie. This is way before walkie-talkies. So he's like, okay, ready? And then they're like, oh, that took 0.2 seconds to get to me.
Is that the one that you're putting today, or is it just
Yes.
really experienced?
Isn't that crazy? That's what they use today. And they can't even prove it. Like they tried to measure a light node with a, what was it, 1,000 frames per second or something like that. They tried to catch a light node because they figured they could catch it at that speed of light, right? They couldn't get it. They still got a stream. You know, because light is instant. It doesn't take time for light to travel, but it does have a limit. You know, if you see a car driving off in the distance, not only does it shrink with perspective, but the light grows dimmer and dimmer and dimmer until you can't see it anymore.
Inverse square
right?
law. It's going to get weaker.
Yeah. Right. And that's well known in science. You know, it's the square, what is it?
Inverse square
square law of light, okay? So for every distance it halves the light. So, like for instance, the moon, how bright we see the moon, if man really did land on the moon, and we don't believe they did, right? But if they really did, when they tried to take a picture of anything, it would be completely washed out with light, because you'd have to increase the light the closer you got to it, right? Because of the reflective light of the sun. It would be completely washed out. They wouldn't be able to take any pictures. The whole moon landing is a complete hoax anyways. If you've ever looked at it, it doesn't take long.
His buddy came back with paperwork.
Oh, yeah?
This is
Yeah. I wonder if the guy upstairs is the one that called him. He probably did.
Don't take my word for it. Don't believe anything these crazy people are saying. Test it for yourself, right? That's what we had to do, right?
Yeah, I didn't believe it. It took me 4 months just to click on my first video.
All right, this is the first lunar module. Let's turn out your
I think it's part of the restaurant upstairs too.
You got some tarp, some current rods there. You got some tin foil, a little bit of duct tape to repair there, some holes in the gaps in the panels.
Yeah,
how does that make it through the vacuum of space?
It does look a little small.
Yeah, and the only reason that you've never realized it is because you've never looked. And the same thing went for us. Like, we're like, of course, you know, NASA's real. And once you start going through NASA and you start investigating their images, it's like some wonky stuff going on here.
And they tell us there's all this space junk going around the globe and stuff, but you can't see any of that. You never observe it. You don't experience anything.
They say that we have.
Yeah. Yeah. But look at a real picture that they try to show you. It's nothing that is real. Pictures from ISS footage or satellite footage.
You never see satellites.
You don't see anything. You don't see any of that stuff because it doesn't exist. Satellites don't exist like they tell us. It's nonsense. 99% of the world's communications.
They do have high altitude.
But a satellite specifically means that we're orbiting in space.
Yeah.
So they have high altitude radio signals,
balloons,
data balloons. Yeah.
All right, check out the
Project
You can take my
Loon.
phone. You can zoom in on whichever one you want. But those are all the images of Earth that they've given us. Continents change size, shape, color, distance. Look at 2012. America covers a quarter of the globe.
All from NASA.
Those are official photos.
And it's because you never looked. But when you look, you're like, what the crap?
Can you explain like seasonal differences?
Yes.
Like the sun's
Come over here.
Local sun. Like, look at this. See this? The sun and moon are local, similar to this model.
Not necessarily.
We don't have exact
we have
models,
some people that are Muslim, we have some people that are
lighting
Christian,
up
we
the
have
area
some people that are
that is hovering
agnostic.
over, right? So
But
as
the
the sun and
fact of the
moon
matter is when you
rotate,
realize that this is a stationary plane and
throughout
that
the summer,
everything isn't what
winter,
you think it
equinox,
is,
you know,
you
and
do
the
come to the
solstice,
realization that
the
there's
sun
a creator. But
goes
then it's up to
further
you to
in and out,
decide
like spiraling,
what
right?
is
So
that, right?
in the
Some
wintertime,
people
the
may
sun
go
will be
to
orbiting more
alien
southerly,
belief, okay?
but in the
if
summer,
you have
it'll be
a
orbiting more
ceiling and
closer
you
to
have
the
a
North
floor,
Pole.
it's not
Therefore,
aliens
we'll have
like
our summer
from another planet,
in the
it's aliens
summer
from a
solstice.
different planet.
I got
Like,
the
if you come
app,
over
I
here.
can show you.
Yes, this is.
So see the red circle? That's where the equator would be. And then the inner circle is Tropic of Cancer, outer is Tropic of Capricorn. So you can see the sun moves around like this, and the light only goes a certain distance based on like.
And see how it's
reflecting the
moving? It's
atmosphere.
moving up and down too. Like it comes in
So
and
then
out.
look what happens in 3 months. I can jump ahead. You see the sun's now over by Capricorn, and then another 3 months back towards the equator.
Equinox.
And it gets closer towards tropical Cancer in our summertime.
And you'll see too, like there's no evidence that there's 24-hour sun in Antarctica.
Yeah.
But there's all kinds of evidence to support a 24-hour sun in the north. You can see it from Iceland, you can see it from Norway, you can see it from Alaska. You know, so it's obvious that it's in the center. You can see it in the summer solstice, but why can't we see that in the winter in the south, right? So it's just another thing, an example to show you that the sun is local and it's not going around a ball, it's just going around the earth.
So this is the Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Flat Earth Clock app.
You can download it on your phone, and they have daily videos. Actually, I would recommend you check it out. There's daily videos.
This is not 100% accurate. It's to give you perspective.
Yeah.
Starting point. And it has
But that app
videos,
specifically has daily videos and all kinds of information you can look into. Same with those pamphlets. You can look on there. There's YouTube channels in the back, and there's websites on the back as well. Just to point you in the direction. Like, we're not trying to tell you what to think or believe us, honestly. We just want people to think. It's a provoking thought, you know. It's a question what we've been told, because there's a lot of misinformation out there. You got disinformation agendas like Flat Earth Society. Like, we're not them at all. They're just trying to tell us Earth is a disk accelerating through space and all kinds of nonsense. We're not at all claiming that, and we don't believe gravity as the theory is told, mass attracting mass or space-time curvature, any of that is actually real. We believe in relative density, basic, obvious things. Something falls because it's heavier than the air, you know, so mean, I hope you would look into it. I hope you'd entertain it. It's, I tell you, it changed your whole life. I've been into this almost 4 years now, and literally changed my whole life. I'm from Canada. I drove all the way here looking for the curve, still haven't found it. I was in Amsterdam a few weeks ago too, still haven't found it, you know. So I'm investigating for myself. I've done tests too. I can see Toronto skyline across Lake Ontario, completely flat and motionless, you know. Same way, and there is a picture, 10 proofs. There's a picture of the Chicago skyline, and it's over 60 miles. Again, no bulge, no curvature. You can see way too far, and it's not a mirage as they're trying to claim. So, and when you just start paying attention, like he's saying, once you actually look, you'd be like, wow, that actually makes sense. You know, like planes, they don't adjust for curvature. They don't go the opposite direction of the spin to get there 1,000 times faster, you know? So it's just like, all these things just start to resonate with you. And once you give it time and take it in,
I didn't even know this was
you'd be surprised in how much you see
Don't question it. Don't
there's
look at
truth
it.
into it, right?
Whatever you do.
Sorry, what's your name?
I'm Lydia.
Lydia, nice to meet you.
You too.
I hope you girls enjoy yourself.
Believe
And,
science,
your
believe
name?
your government.
Oh, Leia.
Leia, nice to meet you. You guys from around here? Or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm from upstate. She's from
Like Midlands.
Okay. Is this your first time hearing about this, or?
no.
Probably Facebook memes and stuff mocking it, right? And isn't that kind of funny? All you see is disinformation and things mocking it, but how often do you get real interactions, which you're going to see more, but to find truth or honest information, it's completely censored online. You type in Flat Earth on YouTube without filtering it or looking specific channels, you're going to get about 10 pages of disinformation, people claiming they're debunking it. Just why they have such an agenda to hide it if it's so obviously a globe and space is real, right? I mean, I don't know if those guys told you about the second law of thermodynamics. We can't have a high pressure system with a low pressure system. It's almost impossible that space and atmosphere of Earth can exist. You know what I mean? You can't have spacesuits and spacesuits can't exist in a vacuum either. So it's just ridiculous to think that they're working on this ISS outside in space doing these spacewalks, but it's in a super, sensitive, really dangerous atmosphere or vacuum chamber of space. Yet, guys in like submarines, they don't go outside and work on the submarine. Everything's inside the submarine. Space would be even more severe. There'd be all kinds of things flying, apparently, so they're out there turning knobs and stuff, and it's obvious that they're doing it underwater. They even admit they practice underwater. Look into it, and you'll see they got all kinds of divers with them. They scuba dive underwater. That's where they film the ISS, and they do green screens, and they do harnesses, and they do parabolic flights as well. The only time they experience weaknesses is when they do a parabolic flight, and you notice all the film is edited within less than a minute, and they'll just keep, you even see them, they'll sit there when they're doing their talks in the ISS, they're sitting there like, oh, look at us, with their hair all hair sprayed up on the women. Like, weightlessness does not make your hair stand like hairspray, and then you'll see them look, we're in space and we're doing a flip, you always see them doing flips. Why are you doing that? You're trying to prove to me that that's real? And you watch them, they're grabbing each other's wires. You can't see them, but you can see them correcting that because they're on wires doing that. It's just ridiculous, and they're just trying to keep brainwashing you to believe, right? So all this nonsense, it just doesn't add up, and that's them. They get, how much money NASA makes? They get funded roughly like over $50 million a day, to hide the Earth is flat and there's a creator, and basically to control you, to control your mind, right? Because that's what it is. It's all about control and hiding the true meaning of life, I think, which people claim to know everything, and there's many different viewpoints here in Flat Earth. There's biblical, there's non-biblical. I'm not biblical, but I absolutely believe in a creator. I do believe that we are unique. Evolution, all that crap, it's a bunch of nonsense. You can't prove any of this stuff. Evolving from a monkey, I mean, really, Big Bang, a speck of dirt, all that stuff. And it's just, when you really break it down, and start to challenge it all. Again, my mind was blown. I binged for like 10 hours straight, and then things just kind of started making sense to me. I was like, I always thought about it when I was flying. Why don't I experience curvature? How come the horizon always rises to my eye level? How come water always is level and flat, So,
Start heading back.
just appreciate you lending me your ear, and everybody else here. You guys, ladies, have a nice day.
You too.
Take care.
It might say image, because they legally can't call it a photo.
Yeah, did you guys get the cards or anything?
It's not real.
No, we didn't
It's
get
an
a card. We
image
just got
created by an
This
artist.
says, This is 21 questions. That's actually a good YouTube video. Josh, you want to curve?
Yeah.
He's got a really good channel called Authentic Intent, and he does a lot of this activism. Check him out. I'm on YouTube as well. I don't have my card with me, I forgot it. ScubaDracula, if you want to check it out. I also do activism, and I have a lot of playlists of trusted information you can check out. So ScubaDracula, one word. His channel also has a lot of good information on it, so please look into it.
Yeah. So this is the famous blue marble image that I showed you before. So when you circumnavigate a flat plane, all you're doing is just going around your neighborhood. You're just doing, you know, one of those where you're just kind of circling around, just doing that. So you don't have to circumnavigate a globe. You can circumnavigate the upstairs here and walk around the block. Doesn't mean the block is a block.
Come on down.
Yeah. Have you ever like talked about this with like your student or friends, other students, teachers?
Just obey.
Not what we learned in school.
Trust your government, they would never lie to you.
So, like air flights between South America and Australia, they have connecting flights in America.
Don't expand your horizon, stay in your seat.
Yeah, I mean you can do this yourself. Go on Priceline.com or whatever.
Yeah.
Go to Santiago, Chile, to Sydney, Australia, and you'll see LAX or Chicago as a connecting flight. So have you ever worked, have you ever like, gone to a restaurant or worked in a restaurant before or whatever? Usually the server wants you to leave within 45 minutes or so, right? Get your food, ham it, talk amongst your friends, 45 minutes to an hour, because they want to turn the table and they want to have more customers because they make the most money, right? So the quickest way between 2 points is a straight line, right? So does this make sense? Or if the Earth is a ball, does that make sense? Yeah, because why not just fly across?
Fly direct down,
Or why not go the opposite spin of the direction of the Earth?
Yeah, right. And if this were to make sense, one thing that a lot of people don't know when they first get into it is the quote southern hemisphere, the southern part here. There's no communication. Yeah, there's no communication between the airplanes and anything. So there's certain parts of the Earth where an airplane will lose its communication with like the main airport or whatever they're trying to communicate with. So
don't look for spin, obey.
because if we had satellites orbiting outer space,
they don't lie about cigarettes and asbestos.
There's 2 cops up there, right?
Yeah. I see them.
It's
4 now.
They might give them that excuse.
It's 4 now.
Huh?
It's 4 now.
Oh, is it? 4 cops now. Just watching.
Question authority, obey your government.
the horizon is all that because it's level and flat. The horizon. Yeah, and so at no height do you get where you can start to see curvature, because the sky is always going to meet with the ground. So.
Obey your government, they love you.
Some good images.
They would never lie to you.
Yeah, I mean this is the ISS. Best Buy apparently didn't go through here and organize the wires. You don't have to because you'll believe them. You're not looking at the wires in the organization. You're looking at these people, in which they use harnesses, green screen technology behind them, and augmented reality.
Yes, look at the pants. You can see the line of the harness is pulling them up. And you watch them. Why are they always spinning around like they're showing off to try and prove to you they're in space? You can see them grabbing each other's wires too in their videos.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's just ridiculous.
So here's an example. Previous civilizations have had the idea that a dome is over us. So we're inside a very celestial sphere, so we see things above us, which the dome may or may not be curved. I think it goes parallel infinitely with the ground. That's just my opinion. But most people in this community would say that there is some kind of a dome over us. But nobody's been able to go so as far out here to see and knock on the wall of the dome. Does that make sense? Because if you have a dome, you have to have a wall that you can come knock on. So whether the wall is further out here, these are sub-zero temperatures, probably negative 100 degrees. So you wouldn't even probably be able to go out this far anyways unless you had proper resources. And the 5 of us don't have those proper resources. So if you have to trust secondary and third-party testimony, in my opinion, that's a religion. That's not verified, that's not science, because science is what we observe in nature, and we can observe it, test it, and then I should be able to duplicate your observations. So science has kind of been turned into a religion. People would say, well, I trust the experts, I trust astronauts, I trust NASA and authority, and that's kind of what our public school is used for, is to get us to trust authority. If you have a police officer behind you, whether he has his cherries on or not, you're like all prim and proper, make sure you got your license, your seatbelt on and everything. Why do you do that? You didn't do anything wrong, right?
Yeah.
That's just instilled in us since we were very, very young.
It's the same with like the globe.
It's the same with the globe. So all we're doing is just provoking thought, questions.
Yeah, definitely like YouTube.
Yeah. Yeah, and you can do your own observations too. What people have started to do is they use high-powered zoom lenses like that one on the tripod is a B900. And when people will see objects like ships go further away from them and they disappear into that, quote, atmosphere, well, they assume that that's the curvature of the Earth, right? But what people don't understand is that there's particulates in the air. You don't know what kind of weather system is going on even 5 or 10 miles away. So, but that ship is just disappearing into the convergence point. And with your physical eyes, you see it disappear, but then you use a high-powered zoom lens, you can bring that object back into focus until the optics are unable to bring it back in. Because that's just, we can't see forever.
Yeah.
Right?
No. Oh, no.
Yeah. But the higher that you get, of course, either the sphere or a ball or a flat plane, you're going to see further.
Oh, yeah.
But at no height are you going to see observable curvature.
And that horizon always rises to your eye level,
Yeah,
essentially.
it's always going to continue to ramp up.
Over 100,000 feet we've observed with high-altitude balloon footage. Way higher than a plane.
Are you familiar with Felix Baumgartner?
No.
Okay. He did a Red Bull jump like 2, 3, 4 years ago or something like that. And they were using a fisheye lens.
Oh.
A GoPro, similar to this.
A GoPro. Yeah. And a GoPro is stock with a fisheye lens, which curves horizontal lines. And the purpose of it is to bring more stuff into the image, right? Nothing wrong with that.
It just curves.
And that makes the curve.
There's nothing wrong with wanting to see more in front of you, right, with the GoPro. Because you're trying to make a video of you skateboarding or whatever. But when you say that that's the curvature of the Earth, that's when I have a problem.
People are just like,
yeah, they're just like, oh yeah, I saw the curvature of the Earth.
And the other thing here is this is New Mexico, I believe, right?
Yeah.
How big is the globe in New Mexico? Is it the size of the globe? Because it's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's pretty big. Yeah. So what happens is this is the horizon right here, and really even when he's landing and he's like 10 feet from the ground before he lands, the horizon's curved.
And also, if the Earth is spinning, he shouldn't have landed right back in New Mexico where he took off.
So, yeah, I mean, just some things to provoke your thought. One thing that I like to say and ask people just to get a good barometer of outer space for them, because I don't feel outer space can be real, but aliens, would you consider in the future possible alien contact from outer space or something like that?
I mean, like, I feel like there has to be some kind of life out there. I don't know if it's going to be like green people.
And I'll offer you some information about it.
But like some kind of life out there.
Give you $100, you can prove you live on a globe.
Well, right here, this is the small ocean.
I'll show you guys the view over here. Jack's smacking. It falls down here.
Don't look for curvature. Don't look for spin. How dare you question government? How dare you? Don't look at the information, whatever you do. Stay in your belief. Don't look. School would never lie to you. School would never tell lies. They love you. Government loves you.
I don't want to be a dental carbon. I don't want to defend them thought. I don't want to save the trees. I don't want to name the trees. I don't want to pick my nose. I don't want to wear pantyhose. I don't want no fudge like that. And don't want to be a bonehead. Don't want to be a bonehead. Don't want to Heh.